Ladies and gentlemen, at this time we will now begin our parade of honor. Today we assemble to honor those who have proudly served our nation in its time of need, to those who answered the call to duty, and to those veterans of past battles. Please stand as they join us in our assembly. The Army established on June 14, 1775. Today, the Army is made up of more than 750,000 soldiers, including active duty and reserve. Following is the Marine Corps, established on November 10, 1775. The Marine Corps is made up of more than 280,000 Marines, including active duty and reserve. Today is the Marine Corps' birthday. They celebrate 246 years since establishment. Happy birthday, Marine Corps. Next up, the Navy. The Navy was reinstated on September 7, 1781. The Navy is made up of over 440,000 personnel, including active duty and reserve. The Air Force is made up of more than 420,000 airmen. more than 48,000 personnel. Would everybody please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for the performance of the national anthem. You may now be seated. Good morning and welcome to the Westside High School 2022 Veterans Day ceremony. Before we begin, can all students please silence your cell phones and refrain from using them during this ceremony? To begin the ceremony, I would like to invite our principal, Mr. Corey Roberts, to the podium for welcoming remarks.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I would like to welcome everyone to our annual Veterans Day ceremony. Today we honor all our veterans who unselfishly place their lives on the line for our freedom. We celebrate this day because we know that without them, there would be no land of the free. Our veterans, these men and women, were ordinary people until they heard the call of duty them today, they fought to protect our country and maintain our way of life. As we honor our veterans and remember their great deeds, let us also salute those who are currently fighting for our freedom. Recent events and the global war on terrorism has helped us all realize how truly unique the American way of life is. The freedom we enjoy is extremely special, and that is why it must be defended. So now is the time to not only honor those who have fought for fighting for our freedom, it is also time for each of us to take part in protecting it. The defense of freedom is not just for those in the military. Each of us shares that duty and that responsibility. We don't have to join any organization of defense to actively defend our way of life. We can help protect our freedom simply by maintaining it here in America. If we want to preserve our freedoms, we must put them into action. We must volunteer in our communities, take care of our veterans and their families, vote in elections, and continue to try to make America the very best it can be. Without our veterans, we wouldn't be where we are today. So we all need to do our collective best to ensure we are able to reach what we could be tomorrow. In closing, I would like to thank the cadets in our JRTC program and its instructors for organizing our ceremony today. It's a day for all Americans. It's a day to remember why they were fighting for the freedoms that we enjoy today. I also would like to thank the band, our broadcast class, and our NHS for participating in this program. Thank you.
Next, former JROTC cadet and NHS President Otto Paquette will read the poem titled In Flanders Field.
In Flanders Field, the poppies grow between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place. And in the sky, the larks, still bravely singing, fly scarce heard amid the guns below. We are the dead. Short days ago we lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow. Loved and more loved, and now we lie in Flanders Fields. Pick up our quarrel with the foe. To you from family hands we throw the torch. Be yours to hold it high. If you break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders Fields.
Good morning. I'm Cadet Lieutenant Colonel William Davies, and I'll be introducing our guest speaker for the day. Lieutenant Colonel Thomas E. Washington, Signal Corps, U.S. Army, retired. Colonel Washington was a member of the 1954 graduating class at Honeypath High School, and he received his Bachelor of Science Electrical Engineering from Clemson in 1962, and Master's degree in Human Resource Management in 1987 from Golden Gate University. Colonel Washington served 8 years as an enlisted soldier in the U.S. Army prior to being commissioned as a second lieutenant through the Clemson ROTC program in 1962. He is a graduate of numerous demanding military courses, including the Army Signal Officer Basic Course, Signal Advanced Course, and the Airborne School. His overseas tours include time in France, Korea, the Philippine Islands, Vietnam, and Germany. Colonel Washington retired from the Army following 30 years of honorable service and went on to serve 10 years as a member of the Tri-County Tech Adjunct faculty here in Anderson. He and his wife Brenda have 8 children, 26 grandchildren, 5 great-grandchildren. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to Lieutenant Colonel Tom Washington.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I feel honored to be here. Most of the time when we think about veterans, we think about wartime service. Reality is that not all veterans served in wartime. And not all of us who did serve during wartime had only that experience as we served. So today I want to people see me and they say, thank you for your service, my response is, it was fun most of the time. But I'm going to skip over the not so much fun time, simply by saying that when you're on the receiving end of incoming rockets and mortars, that is not the fun time. My wife suggested that I wear my uniform today. I retired in 1986. My uniform does not fit anymore. My shoes do, and I wore those, but that's the extent of my uniform today. As an enlisted man, I served in France. I was stationed just outside of Paris, France. So as a young man, saving $50 a month out of my $85.20 a month, I didn't do a lot of partying. I did none, actually. But we did have the opportunity to take a shuttle bus into downtown Paris, at Arc de Triomphe, and we were able to travel around and see a lot of the sights there in Paris. Later in my career, after I was commissioned, I had the opportunity to visit a place called Korea. Fortunately, the war was over there, but I did have an opportunity to visit inside the DMZ. They were having some communications problems, and because of my role in the division at that time, I went in there to do some troubleshooting to take care of things. Later, I came back to the States, and then I went to the Philippines. Philippines were kind of interesting. We were on the island of Luzon, Clark Air Force Base. Kind of interesting being on the Air Force Base as an Army guy. Sometimes the people in the Air Force would pick on me. They had me outnumbered. One of the neat things, being there though, the commander of the 13th Air Force was stationed there. A gentleman that I met on a couple of occasions by the name of Benjamin O. Davis, Jr. Name may not mean anything to you, but if you've ever heard of the Tuskegee Airmen, he was one of them. A very, very proud youth. World War II, flew fighter missions in Europe, providing cover for our bomber missions. After the Philippines, I had the opportunity to visit Vietnam, and spent 3 months there one time, 3 days another time, and then third time they got me to stay for a full year. Vietnam is an interesting place. I had the opportunity to visit from the southern end of Phu Quoc Island, which is just off the southern coast, up to Da Nang, which is just south of the DMZ at that time. East to the coast and west into the highlands. Nice place called Dak To, which made the news back in those days. So I was beginning to think I was going to be a Far East expert. Didn't work out that way. Had the opportunity to go to Germany. Germany was kind of a fun place. A lot of people wanted to, one of the places they wanted to go was Oktoberfest. Made the Oktoberfest down there. Didn't drink anything, so I got to remember everything that I saw there, which is more than some of the other people did. Germany's got lots of castles, and we were able to visit a lot of them. And one of them was the place where Richard the Lionheart was held captive. If any of you are familiar with the story of Robin Hood and evil Prince John, he was the guy who took over while King Richard was in prison in the castle. He had to be ransomed to get him out of there. Another place I got to visit was, let's talk about France. Here in the States, I rumbled around quite a bit, from the East Coast to the West Coast, from Fort Monmouth, New Jersey, Fort Polk, Louisiana, Fort Polk. Maneuvers. The Army likes to have maneuvers from time to time, and I was able to go down to Fort Camp Polk back then. And how many of you enjoy camping? Show of hands, campers? Okay. I had the opportunity to go camping down there. I spent 2 months in Buckton's. Not the greatest experience. I think glamping is better. I haven't had an opportunity to do that, but glamping I think is probably better. went camping in Korea. Won't say it was cold there, but the diesel fuel wouldn't flow. So we ended up having to use gasoline to use in our tent heaters there. One of the things about my life early was between my enlisted time and college time, my social life was basically nothing. So I had the opportunity when I came back to the States. I was at Fort Lewis, Washington. I was a bachelor in my late 20s. Had 14 lieutenants there with me. A lot of them were married, and they were very concerned about my being a bachelor. And they set out to make sure that I wasn't going to be a bachelor very long. So they fixed me up. They found a young woman for me to meet, a member of my church. I dated her a couple times. That didn't work out too well. So, in meanwhile, in my church congregation, similar concerns about my bachelor. They were more successful. Met a young woman, ended up marrying her. She spent 20 years with me in the service, and then 5 years after I retired here in Anderson before she was killed in an automobile accident. So when I look back at my time in the service, the things that I think were most important to me were the people that I met, the people with whom I served. And I think that's true of all of us who have served. Those are the people who make the most impression on us as we deal with the challenges of serving. And I hope that as you leave here, you understand that being in the service, sometimes, yes, we're going to have to put up with people shooting at us and doing other bad things for us. But the thing that you're probably going to remember most are the people with whom you serve. Because they are the ones who have your back as you serve. Thank you all for being here. Have a good day. And for those of you who also serve, thank you for your service. And for those of you who may serve in the future, best of luck in your service. Thank you.
We'd like to thank the Lieutenant Colonel for joining us today and speaking to all of us. So we're representing you with the Cold War Victory Commemorative Medal. We'd like to thank you for your service, sacrifice, and your prayers. Thank you.
We will now be followed by the folding of the national colors, read by Addison Black and performed by our flag detail.
Today, I will be showing the symbolism of the folding of our national flag. The United States flag, unlike any other country, is more than a vibrant coat of arms, but a symbol of our freedom, sovereignty, faith, and valor. For our soldiers, the flag is not just a reminder of home and the freedom they fight to preserve, but also a reminder of fallen brothers and the ultimate sacrifice they are willing to make for our country. There are 13 folds, each one having a significant meaning no less than the last. The first fold of the flag is a symbol of life. The second fold is a symbol of the belief in eternal life. The third fold is made in honor and remembrance of the veterans departing the ranks who gave a portion of their lives for the defense of the country to attain peace throughout the world. The fourth fold represents the weaker nature, for as American citizens trusting in God, it is to Him we turn in times of peace as well as in time of war for His divine guidance. The fifth fold is a tribute to the country, for in the words of Stephen Decatur, our country, in dealing with other countries, may she always be right, but it is still our country, right or wrong. The sixfold is for where people's hearts lie. It is with their heart that they pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The sevenfold is a tribute to its armed forces, for it is through the armed forces that they protect their country and their flag against all her enemies, whether they be found within or without the boundaries of their republic. The eightfold is a tribute to the one who entered into the valley of the shadow of death, that we might see the light of day. The ninthfold is a tribute to womanhood and mothers, for it has been through their faith, their love, loyalty, and devotion that the character of the men and women who have made this country great has been molded. The tenfold is a tribute to the Father, for he, too, has given his sons and daughters for the defense of their country since they were first born. The 11th fold represents the lower portion of the seal of King David and King Solomon, and glories in the Hebrew eyes, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The 12th fold represents an emblem of eternity and glorifies God the Father. The 13th fold, or when the flag is completely folded, the stars are uppermost, reminding them of their nation's motto, "In God we trust." After the flag is completely folded and tucked in, it takes on the appearance of a cocked hat, ever reminding us of the soldiers who served under General George Washington and the soldiers and Marines who served under Captain John Paul Jones, who were followed by their comrades and shipmates in the armed forces of the United States, preserving for them rights, privileges, and freedoms they enjoy today. Today and always, we honor them and say thank you.
Post. Forward. Mark.
I will now read the tribute to fallen soldiers. As you entered the gym today, you may have noticed a small table in a place of honor. It is set for one. This table is our way of symbolizing the fact that members of our profession of arms are missing from our midst. They are commonly called POWs or MIAs. We call them brothers. They are unable to be with us today, and so we remember them. This table set for one is small, symbolizing the frailty of one prisoner alone against his oppressors. Remember. The tablecloth is white, symbolizing the purity of their intentions to respond to their country's call to arms. Remember. The single red rose displayed in a vase reminds us of the families and loved ones of our comrades in arms who keep the faith awaiting their return. Remember. The red ribbon tied so prominently on the vase is reminiscent of the red ribbon worn upon the label and breasts of thousands who bear witness to their unyielding determination to demand a proper accounting of our missing. Remember. The candle. The candle is lit, symbolizing the upward reach of their unconquerable spirit. Remember. A slice of lemon is on the bread plate to remind us of their bitter fate. Remember. There is salt upon the bread plate, symbolic of the family's tears as they wait. Remember. The glass is inverted. They cannot toast with us today. Remember. The chair. The chair is empty. They are not here. Remember. Remember. All of you who served with them and called them comrades, who depended upon their might and aid and relied upon them, for surely they have not forsaken you. Remember. Remember. Until the day they come home, remember.
beat. Team, Hudson, shoot. 15 count manual. Ready, begin. Right, face. 4 count delay, 15 count manual. Ready, begin. Half left, face. 2 count delay, 15 count manual. Ready, begin. Half left, face. All ready, right.
Please give a round of applause to our girls. We very much appreciate your time spent watching our drill team perform. Will all veterans please stand? For those attending the reception, please follow our cadets posted at the door and guidance to the place of our reception. If you are departing from